think it's really starts with creating audience first content. And I specifically putting audience first before content because I think we're in this age where it's like content, and people are just churning stuff out and you're not necessarily thinking about why would anybody want to read that? I understand why you want to say that, but what's the benefit to the person on the other side?
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Eric Jones. I'm here with Dara Treseder, who's the CMO of Carbon. Dara, it's great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to be here.
Tell us a little bit about Carbon and how you're revolutionizing the 3D marketplace.
Yeah, so Carbon is the world's leading digital manufacturing platform. We use 3D printing technology, really we call it DLS because it's digital light synthesis, to accelerate product innovation. So make products that you could never make before any other way.
You moved from, some large companies. You've been at GE, you've been at Apple, you've been at Goldman. What's it like as a marketer, shifting between those big companies and being at a startup?
I think what's most exciting, honestly, is I've been privileged to work at some of the world's most storied, iconic brands, but a lot of those brands were kind of founded and built before I got there. And so it was like, how do you continue to build upon that legacy? But here at Carbon, it's a different journey. We're actually building the brand story from the ground up. So it's really exciting to kind of get in there, I'm the company's first CMO, and really start to develop that architecture and the message and the purpose. And it's fun to get to work with the actual founder. Right? I haven't had the opportunity to do that in my other role, so it's been exciting to do that here.
How do you feel about the difference between marketing in a B2C context versus B2B?
So I'm a big believer in B2H, business to human, because for now, it's still humans making the purchasing decisions on the other side. And so I think, the most powerful thing is when you build an effective marketing strategy and plan that communicates and the benefits to the human on the other side. So you still have to build that emotional connection, because even in the B2B space, emotion and connection to the brand is still plays a powerful role in making decisions. And so I think for me, my focus is really on how do I do B2H? And I think another way you could say B2H is B2B2C. How do I make sure that the companies that are looking to find the leading digital manufacturing platform connect with Carbon, but also how do I help that company tell the story so that the consumers that are purchasing the products that are made with Carbon understand the value of our premium ingredient brand?
Carbon's a fascinating company. You're disrupting manufacturing because you've managed to do things so much more quickly than some of the other competitors in that space. How does speed inform what you're doing from a marketing perspective?
Oh, it absolutely informs, how we tell our story and the pace at which we tell the story. An exciting anecdote I'd love to share is, my very first day on the job, I was, in New York meeting with the NFL, talking about the new product that we were going to launch at the Super Bowl. And as you can tell, in most storied brands, prepping for the Super Bowl is a half a year activity at the least, and we had to, everyone was kind of breaking for sort of the holiday break, and we were going to get back in January and really have between 4 to 6 weeks to orchestrate a Super Bowl campaign. And that pace is something that you'd only kind of see in a high growth startup. You wouldn't see that pace happen at a big company because of all the layers and sort of tradition that exists and red tape. So it was really exciting, and we were able to really cut through the clutter and deliver an effective campaign that became one of Twitter's best performing spotlight trends of all time.
So tell us a little bit more about that. That was actually the subject of your panel here at South by. You went big right out of the gates. How on earth did a startup like you manage to do that, pull it all off?
Honestly, I think it's first of all, I have to give credit to just the engineers at the company that really created this incredible product. Because the story is only as good as the substance of the story. So I think we were very fortunate to work with Riddell to create the world's first 3D printed helmet liner that's improving player protection. That in itself is a story worth telling. So we had a lot of great meat to work with, and Riddell was a fascinating partner. But I think it was the way we were able to do that was just being very clear and starting with the purpose. What is the purpose? Why are we telling the story? And for us, it was clear. We wanted people to see and know that the way to improve and protect what you love is through innovation and technology. That innovation and technology can solve real problems, important problems. And so having that purpose at the center allowed us to kind of quickly figure out, okay, if we want to seed this in the world, what's the best way to do that? And we realized that even if people are watching the game, on cable at home, majority of them are what? Also on Twitter, engaging in the conversation, because almost watching the game and seeing what's going on Twitter is half the fun, right? If not all the fun. And so we decided to kind of take a disruptive approach where we actually launched our campaign on Friday, kicking off Super Bowl weekend on Twitter, where the conversations about the game are happening, and simultaneously did a massive distribution across different social channels. And we had really great partners. We worked with Magnet Media, and Giant Spoon was our creative agency. Just being able to, really start with the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish, really have clearly defined journey that will help you get the ROI. And obviously, it's speed to execution.
At GE, you experimented with a whole bunch of different channels, which is really, really unusual for a company like GE. And here we're hearing about your use of Twitter during the Super Bowl to kind of dominate a lot of the conversation. As you take probably a much needed breather and think about the rest of 2019, what are the channels that you're really going to double down on?
So I think for us, we're going to continue to focus on, I would say, three key things. One is really the digital channels, the social media channels, really because our audience is there. Whether it's our audience in kind of the healthcare and life sciences space, or it's our audience in the consumer space or in the automotive space, one of the things that we're finding, again, this is why I say B to H, B to human, is people want to learn. We're in the age of the conscious consumer. Even the B2B buyer wants to really understand, what are the benefits to me? What is the value proposition? Why this over that? And so really leveraging digital channels to get our story out there, both the stories, our customer stories, the stories about our brand and our capabilities, but also getting into the tech a little bit, the technical stories, having people understand really how our product and our platform works, I think is going to be really important. So that's number one. The second thing that I think is going to continue to be important for us is really kind of experiential, right? Really because of the physicality of what we do, we have found that, experiential activations really bring it to life in a powerful way. So we did something at the Super Bowl, and we're going to continue to kind of really leverage sort of experiential approach as well. And then I think the third thing for us is really going to be focused on leveraging the power of our founder. And our founder he launched the company giving a TED Talk. And he is just one of the most incredible inventors of our time. And so really being able to continue to work with him as he tells his story and shares the story of carbon and shares the origin story and the purpose story, I think is going to be really important for us as well.
What are you doing to, kind of engage potential buyers outside of those transactional moments?
So for us, we're doing a lot, really. I think it really starts with creating audience-first content. And I specifically putting audience first before content, because I think we're in this age where it's like content, and people are just churning stuff out, and you're not necessarily thinking about, why would anybody want to read that? I understand why you want to say that, but what's the benefit to the person on the other side? And so for us, we're really focusing on creating audience-first content that directly answers the questions our audiences want to answer, that tells them the stories that they're looking for, and really kind of brings that knowledge to the surface in a powerful way that can not only just help them get to know carbon, but actually help them be better at their jobs, help them be better at accelerating product innovation, help them be better at creating these breakthrough products.
I saw a Fortune panel that you did recently, where you've talked about marketing being far, far more of a business driver.
Right.
Wanted you to kind of expand on that a little bit and tell us what you meant.
Yes, I think marketing is really core to how a business not only is created but also runs. And I think because gone are the days of Mad Men where you just have a creative idea and everybody goes out to lunch and gets an award and goes home and calls it a day. Marketing has changed dramatically, right? Marketing is helping to inform the product life cycle by being the voice of the customer. Marketing is helping to tell the story and drive growth, building demand engines. And so marketing is really playing a much more central role in terms of helping shape and define and execute the business strategy. And so I think, you're kind of seeing, and I think most CMOs will be, might lean one way or the other, but are realizing the importance of a balanced team, a team of artists and scientists. Artists who are really great at storytelling, really great at, aesthetics and visual and bringing things to life in the most powerful and magical ways. But the scientists were very, very, very good at building channels, driving execution, really charging ahead for growth, making growth a reality. And so just being able to marry those artists and scientists and bring them together is where the magic happens.
So in your own marketing department, blending that art and science, who's your next hire going to be? Is it going to be a data scientist or an engineer or?
Well, my first hire was my VP of brand, who I'm really excited about and starts on April 1st. But right up there is my head of marketing strategy and ops, who's kind of, it's sort of my yin and my yang, right? One person that's like really focusing on helping me kind of make sure our house is in order, because it doesn't matter how amazing the brand campaign is. If you don't have the demand gen engine to couple with that to really support growth and create those opportunities for the business, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? Could have been the most powerful or the most beautiful, a brand campaign. But if it doesn't lead to results, it doesn't
matter, yeah. We're seeing marketing, it has sales targets associated with it. In many cases, it's driving digital transformation. It's actually sitting in marketing rather than, IT or someplace else. It's more and more responsible for CX. How do you view that sort of expanding purview of marketing?
I think, again, because of the critical role marketing plays as this voice of the customer and this source of truth and being the chief storyteller for growth for the company, I think you're only going to see that. When I think about in my role, for example, I've got customer experience, so the education and training team, as well as the inside sales team, but I also have the brand team and the communications team. So, and I think you're going to continue to see that. Now, obviously, demand gen and product marketing, right? That's my org kind of spans across all of these things. And you're starting to see that a marketer can't really do his or her best work when you're not able to bring these things together, because they sit in silos. And then, we're not getting the results that we need. Well, how are we supposed to get the results that we need if we're out here doing brand campaigns that don't speak to or work with the demand gen strategy, or if our technology stack isn't in place, or if we're not actually providing our product team with any insights to help to shape the future of the product roadmap? All these things have to work together as we build the companies of the future that are going to sit on top of digital transformation.
Thank you, Dara.
Thank you so much.
That was Dara Treseder, the CMO of Carbon.